Hi, I'm Kat and I play Red. Today we're going to be looking at a game I've spoken about. I spoke about it on my video last week. This is a game that several people had said to me I should try. They thought I'd like it. There was a little bit of buzz about it, and so I put it on my Christmas wish list. It is Ancient Knowledge from Iello. This card-based game seems to very much be the thing at the moment. And to the people who said I might like it, you were right. Let's have a look at it. You are the ancient builders of this world, the last survivors of civilization before ours. You are now the only holders of this multi-millennial knowledge. Leave your mark on history through stone and traditions and protect this ancient knowledge. Each player starts the game with a player board. They're all the same, just different colours. This is as close to red as they've got, so this one I've got. At the top here is your timeline numbered 1 to 6. During the game, you'll place monuments here and slide them to the left, that way, where they will end up in the past, here. When a player has 14 monuments in their past, game end will trigger. In the middle of your board here, you have space for 5 artifacts. These are the purple cards in the deck. Everything else in the deck is monuments. Next to that, there is a space here for lost knowledge. And on the right of your board, there is space for your technology cards. Now, these come in 3 different types: ancient, writing, and secret. Now, there are starting decks you can use that have got a little symbol on the bottom. Oh, look, there we go. So there's sets of cards with matching symbols you can use for a starting game. If you're experienced players, you don't need to worry about that. Instead, give each player 10 cards and they will choose 6 to keep and 4 to discard. So let's have a look at some cards. So here we go, the purple cards, artifacts. Then we have 3 different types of monuments. Oops. Watch me. Oh no, I've actually got all 3. So we have the blue ones, green ones, and the orange ones. Now, there's no real difference between them, just that some card effects will be specific to a type of monument. So here we go. This is discard 1 knowledge from each orange monument adjacent to this card. The cards have various different types. We have anything with lightning bolt here is going to be an immediate effect. Pretty common, most games use that symbol. Anything with stars on is end game points. Stars in this game are points. This symbol here is to do with the timeline phase, and we'll talk about the timeline phase as we go on. And the last type here is the in decline phase. So those are our 4 different symbols that you'll see in the game, and you'll see these various points on various cards. But for now, let's have a look and choose my 6 starting cards. So that's quite hard at the moment. That's a bit mean. We like that one. Like that one. So generally what I tend to do is kind of pick the ones I like and then whittle it down if I need to. Quite like that one. So, oops, so I've discarded 3, I have 7, so I need to choose one of these to discard. Oh my goodness, 2, 1 monument. Let's get rid of that one, that's a mean card. So there is some player interactions. For example, this card here allows you to add 2 knowledge from the reserve onto your opponent's timeline. So this isn't a completely solo experience. I tend not to play them because I'm nice, but you know, if you're horrible, a mean person, then you might do. So there's my 6 starting cards. In the middle of the table here, we have our technology tiles. At the start of the game, we start with 2 rows of level 1 and 1 row of level 2. When we get to the halfway point of the game, that will change. But for now, these 2 are filled with cards from the level 1 deck, and this row is filled from the level 2. And then here we have our knowledge tokens. We have very cute start player tokens, so give that to your start player. A player's turn consists of 3 phases: your action phase, your timeline phase, and your decline phase. A player will carry out all 3 of these, and there's a very nice little player aid here. And then play will move to the next player. So during your action phase, you will take 2 actions, and there's quite a few different actions you can take. The 5 actions you can take are create, learn, excavate, archive, and search. And you're going to take 2 of these actions, and you can do the same one twice. So let's have a look at the create action. The create action refers to placing any card, be it an artifact or a monument. So I'm going to start by placing an artifact, and let's have a look at what I've got. I'm going to pop this one down. So this one, every time I create 1 blue monument, I draw a card. It's got the infinity symbol, so it always happens. It's just an ongoing effect. So my next action, I'm going to place a monument. Now, monuments have quite a lot of information on the card. Let's have a look at this green one here. So to place Teotihuacan, I have to pay 1 card. So this little symbol here indicates I need to discard 1 card to place it. Now, when you place a card, they're going to come in on your timeline. So let's start with this one. It actually, because it has the number 6 up here, starts life on number 6. Now, with most cards, you can pay extra to place them in different spots on your timeline. So in theory, I could discard 1 extra card to move this to the 5 slot. However, this card has got a little padlock, which means it must be placed on the indicated spot. Now, I still have to discard, so I'm going to discard that to place that. And this monument starts with 2 knowledge on it because of the little 2 there. If it has a lightning bolt effect, don't forget to apply that immediately. You can have 2 monuments in each space on your timeline. So if I wanted another number 6 monument, let's just say, I would place it above here. I've had my 2 actions, so I can't do any more. But you can have 2 on each spot. You always place in the bottom row first and then the top row above. So when a card refers to an adjacent card, it's talking about next to it or above, not diagonally adjacent. So now I've taken my 2 actions, I move on to the timeline phase. Now, nothing I have activates in this phase. Keep an eye on your artifacts because some of these will also take effect then. So nothing to do in my timeline phase. Now we go on to the decline phase. During the decline phase, all monuments on your timeline will move in this direction one space. So for now, it's just this one on number 6, and that is going to move to number 5, and it takes those knowledge tokens with it. Let's move on and have a look at the other actions. The second action you can do, well, not second action, one of the actions you can do is to learn. And that is learning technologies from the display here. So we currently start with 2 level 1s and 1 level 2. The level 2 cards will always give you endgame points. Some of these have special requirements. So you can see here, I need to have 1 orange and 1 green monument in my past, 2 orange in my past, and obviously I have nothing in my past at the moment, so that's not applicable. What I can do, however, is this one here. Look at the top 8 cards of the deck, take 1 and discard the remaining. So I'm going to take that, pop it there, take 8 cards, 3, 4, 5 from the deck, and let's have a look. Now I've got an awful lot of artifacts here, which is quite nice, but I only have space for 5 on my board. I can never have more than 5, and I might want to look at some of these requirements. So maybe let's have a look at an orange one. I'm going to do that for now. I'm going to take an orange one so that I'm going to have that and work towards that. So that goes into my hand. So now I have another action. I can choose to archive. Now, archiving helps you get rid of knowledge on your cards. I can choose to discard cards from my hand to get rid of knowledge here, and I can discard any number of cards I want. But do you know what? I've only got the 1. I'm going to discard 1 to discard 1 knowledge off that monument. So that's my 2 actions. End of my turn. Still nothing activating in my timeline. Move this down to 4 in the decline phase. So the next action we're going to look at is the excavate action. Now this requires you to have some monuments in your past, so I'm going to pretend these are here. I can tap as many or as few of these as I want. So let's just use that one for now. And I can draw an additional 2 cards from the deck. Now there is a hand limit of 10. I have 5, so actually I can draw 4. I'm going to rotate both of those and draw 4 cards from the deck. Now these cards will stay activated until I take an action which resets them. There are cards that allow you to do that. There are cards that negate every single rule I've told you somewhere in the deck. So that's the excavate action. The other way you can gain cards is with the search action, where literally you just draw 1 card from the deck. There's not necessarily something you want to be doing. So I'm not going to do that. Plus I have a big handful of cards. So let's have a look at what I might want to do for my second action. I am going to, oh my word, these are all, oof. I'm going to place this, Petra. It has no cost. It comes into play with 1 knowledge on it. It says here, And during my timeline, if I have 2 or less knowledge on my board and at least 1 monument in my past, draw a card. Now, obviously, I don't have those. So that would be my 2 actions. During my timeline phase, I'd look, I can't activate that yet, and these would move down. So, seeing as the first few turns of this game can be a bit slow, we've sped things up. And oh, look at all the stuff in my lovely tableau. This is about to go into decline, so I'm going to use the archive action and discard that to take 1 off there. Then I'm going to move on to my timeline phase, and let's have a look at what we've got here. If I have 3 or less forgotten knowledge on my board and 1 monument in my past, which I still don't have, I can't do that. 1 monument in the past, no. Discard 1 knowledge from any other monument. So I'm going to activate that to remove a knowledge from that. Then we move into the decline phase. Now, here we go. This one is going to move into my past. Now, it has an end of game action, so nothing triggers. However, if it had a decline action, that would have happened. All of these are going to move up 1 space. And that's the end of my turn. So let's have another turn and see what we can do. And I need to get rid of some of these. So I'm going to discard 2 cards. I'm going to get rid of 1 from there and 1 from there, so we can show you what happens to knowledge there. Oh, I've got 2 actions, haven't I? So let's place this. And then move on to my timeline phase. So if I have 3 or less broken knowledge on my board and 1 monument in my past, I can discard 1 from any monument. I'm going to keep that there because I was going to show you what happens. So let's discard 1 there. If you have 2 or less on your board and 1 monument in your past, draw a card. And discard 1 knowledge from any other monument. So let's get rid of that one. And then we're going to go into decline. So I can choose the order I do that if there are multiple cards on the 1 slot. So I'm going to do this one first because it's a timeline effect, nothing happens. Then Teotihuacan. So the first thing that happens is knowledge is going to go here onto this lost knowledge space on my board. Any that are still there at the end of the game will be -1 point. Then this card goes into decline and it says you may learn up to 2 technologies if you fulfill their requirements. So let's have a look and see what there is. So this includes cards with no requirements. So discard as many knowledge from your timeline as the number of artifacts. Now that's quite good. I have 4 artifacts, so I'm actually going to take 1, 2, 3, 4 and learn this one and pop it there. And let's have a look. I'm going to take this one. So each of your opponents discard a card from your hand. So again, a little bit of player interaction there. Pop that there. Now, because there's only 1 card here, we take this one off and refill it. Oops, re-slide. Pop them down. And that is now in the past with those. And these will move up 1 space. When you reach a point that there are 7 monuments in any player's past, you're going to remove 1 of these. So let's pretend we have 7 here. Flip this over, and from that point on in the game, you are going to have 2 rows of level 2 technology and 1 of, oh, that's nice for me, 2 level 2s and 1 level 1. If a player has 14 monuments in their past, you've triggered game end. You're going to play to the end of the round and then move on to final scoring. So, someone has triggered game end with 14 monuments. We play to the end of the round and then move to final scoring and little score pad. So, let's have a look at what all these mean. Now, the first thing here is points for monuments in your past. Now, all monuments will have a value here, even if it's 0. You're going to add these up and write the number there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nothing, 5, 11, 12, 13. So my score for that first row would be 13. Then you're going to look at monuments that have this endgame scoring symbol. So let's pull those out into a separate pile and have a look. So first one here, gain 2 points for each set of 3 different monument types in your past. So let's have a look. I've got 2. Oh, I've got 3 of each, so I'd get 6 points for this card. I've got 2 sets there and I've got another set here. So that would be 6 points. Gain 2 points for each set of 3 different types of technology tiles. So I have 2 of each, so that would be 4 points, so 10. Gain 1 point for each orange monument in my past. I had, did I have 3? 4. So 14 total and 1 extra for each monument in my timeline. So I had none there. So my total was 14. I'd pop 14 there. Then you're going to gain points for any of the level 2 technologies you have. So I think I've got 1 of each. So 4, 5, 6, 9 total there. You're then going to gain 1 victory point for each monument that's left in your timeline. I had none. I get 0. And -1 point for each broken knowledge left on your board there. Add up the points and the player with the most points is the winner. Ancient knowledge has got a lot of things that are very familiar. At the moment, there seems to be a bit of a trend for games with big decks of cards that then produce combos. I mean, Terraforming Mars did it a while back, Ark Nova does it, Earth does it, Forest Shuffle does it. So it does seem to be a bit of a thing at the moment. And I really enjoy those types of games. It reminds me of Bruges, if we want to go very old school, where you have to adapt your strategy depending on the cards you get. And you have to almost chop and change what you're doing dependent on what the cards allow you to do. And I really enjoy that, rather than a game that has a very fixed strategy. With these sort of games, you have to adapt. And I enjoy that. The other really cool thing about Ancient Knowledge is there's almost no setup. There's definitely some games, card games I've played, where you had these types of cards, then these, then these, then these. And the setup just completely put me off the game. Whereas with this, you pretty much go straight in. It's really easy to get going. You do what it says on the card. 2 actions a turn. The actions themselves are quick, so play is constantly moving. It's quite cheap as well. I don't know because I didn't buy it, Rob did. I think it's around 35 UK pounds. He's nodding at me. Which these days is pretty good going. Card quality is nice. The game's nice. It's not the most complex of games, but it's definitely one where you have to roll with what the game allows you to do, which, as I said, is something I really enjoy. Check it out. I think it came out last year. I know there were a lot of people at BGG talking about it. So I think it's fairly new, but it's out there. It's available to buy now. Have a look. Plays up to 4 players. What do they reckon? 30 minutes per player. Let's say a lot of that depends on how AP your players are, but the turns are quick, so there's no huge downtime. There is some interaction if you want to be mean. If you don't want to be mean, you can discard those cards to pay for other stuff. You don't have to take them. So you've almost got an option about if you want to be mean or not. Have a look at it. Ancient Knowledge from Iello, available now. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget, click like, subscribe. All that stuff. You know what you're doing. This is the internet age. You're probably better at it than me. See you next time. Bye.